robots aren't science fiction anymore. They're here. And they're getting a little too real for comfort. One just lost control mid-demo and started swinging at engineers like it was ready for a Terminator reboot. The clip went viral in hours, but that's just the beginning. In China, one car brand is filling showrooms with life-size blonde androids in sunglasses, ready to sell you vehicles. Meanwhile, in Germany, a robotics company just unveiled a humanoid worker that can run for 8 hours straight and costs less than a Tesla. Across the ocean, researchers in California have released a $5,000 do-it-yourself humanoid you can 3D print at home, and people are already upgrading it to walk smoother and last longer. And Hyundai, they're taking it to the next level, bringing Boston Dynamics as robots into factories that'll build hundreds of thousands of electric cars every year. Now, let's break down what's really happening. The viral clip that started all this looked like a movie scene. Almost too perfect to be real. It came from Belarusian TV outlet Nexa, which reposted what appears to be factory security footage shot somewhere in China. The robot, a half-finished humanoid hanging from a crane, was supposed to be going through a basic movement test. Two engineers stood nearby, tablets in hand, reading out system data. Suddenly, every joint spiked. The bot flailed its arms, kicked its legs, and yanked the suspension line sideways, dragging its stand across the floor. A computer crashed to the ground, parts scattered, and both engineers dove out of range while the crane hook creaked overhead. The chaos lasted barely 20 seconds, but the footage blew up online, racking up over 100,000 views in a few hours and spawning dozens of Skynet jokes. One commenter wrote, "Sarah Connor tried to warn us." Another dropped a Robocop meme, while a surgical resident chimed in that it reminded him just how mechanical his own surgical robot really is. That meltdown fit perfectly with the wave of humanoid demos China's been showing off all winter. Pudu Robotics D9 model walks at over 4 meters per second, climbs stairs, and can even take a shove without tipping. Clone Robotics muscular prototype, revealed back in February, flexed synthetic tendons that look disturbingly human. Promising one day to cook, clean, and talk, people were amazed by the tech but creeped out by the atmosphere. And that viral clip only added fuel, showing just how fast things can go wrong when safety controls fail. Meanwhile, about 500 kilometers west of Shanghai, Chery Automotive is taking a softer approach, charm over chaos. The company building cars since the mid-90s decided its next showroom assistant wouldn't be human at all. Meet Morin, a polished blonde android with a ponytail and wraparound shades. Chery teamed up with robotics firm AIMMA in mid-2024 and first introduced Morin at last year's Shanghai Auto Show. This week, she reappeared on stage behind Chery International's president during a presentation featuring multiple identical models. He called humanoid robotics the real future for the brand, even suggesting it could one day rival their car business. Each robot costs roughly the same as a mid-range vehicle, though dealers get quiet discounts, and 220 units are already slated for delivery next year. One is even greeting shoppers in Malaysia, handing out bottled water and answering questions in a smooth, synthetic voice. The sunglasses aren't just for style. They hide a 360-degree camera array, while each fingertip carries sensors that detect when a customer touches a brochure. A social clip of Maureen's short dance routine at launch went viral, with comment sections debating whether Chery might need to update its dress code for robotic employees. If Chery's selling personality, Germany's Eggy GmbH is selling practicality. The Colon-based motion plastics company spent over a decade testing friction-resistant polymers, and now they've bundled all that research into a humanoid robot called Eggy Rob. It undercuts nearly every Western competitor at around $47,999, roughly $54,000, a third the cost of Agility's Digit and half the rumored price of Tesla's Optimus. Eggy stands 1.7 meters tall, with its torso mounted on a mobile base that can carry serious weight. It runs 8 hours on a charge, is fully RS2 compatible, and can be slotted straight into existing industrial dashboards used in German factories. The company's pitch is simple. They'll send you a test unit, let your team run it in a live workspace, and if it fits your workflow, you keep it and pay the bill. Their roadmap's been building toward this for years. From award-winning robotic arms to dexterous hands to autonomous mobile bases, Eggy Rob is the complete package finally assembled. Across the Atlantic, the University of California, Berkeley, is taking robotics in the opposite direction. Cheap, open source, and accessible, their Berkeley Humanoid Lite Project dropped full C80 files, firmware, and training code online for anyone to build. The bot stands under a meter tall, uses 22 custom 3D printed joints, and costs around $5,000 in total to assemble. Despite the modest setup, it walks, writes, stacks blocks, and even spins a Rubik's Cube. Half of Reddit calls it the Raspberry Pi moment for humanoid robots. The other half says it looks like a toy and warns that 3D printed gears won't last long. But that's kind of the point. Berkeley wants hundreds of tinkerers experimenting and improving it together. And then there's Hyundai taking things to industrial scale. After acquiring Boston Dynamics, the Korean automaker is now integrating Atlas, the Parker-performing robot, into its new Georgia plant in the US. The factory aims to produce 300,000 electric cars per year and marks the centerpiece of about $21 billion investment in mobility and automation. Atlas can climb stairs, step over conveyor belts, and move through spaces designed for humans, meaning Hyundai can upgrade software instead of rebuilding its entire floor layout. Labor groups are wary, but management insists that safety and uptime data will prove the bots are worth it. So now, with robots selling us cars, building them, and sometimes losing control mid-demo, the question isn't if automation is coming. It's how soon before one takes your job. Drop your thoughts below. Are we witnessing the next industrial revolution or just building our own replacements? Because every week, something new in AI or robotics blurs that line a little more. Machines that used to just follow orders are now learning, adapting, even making decisions on their own. And while that might sound exciting, it also raises a question nobody wants to say out loud. What happens when the line between helper and hazard disappears completely? Just look at the trends. A year ago, humanoid robots were lab curiosities. Now they're sales reps, factory workers, security staff, and even social media influencers. The tech isn't just advancing, it's accelerating. The systems training these machines are evolving faster than the hardware can keep up. And every misstep, every glitch, every viral malfunction shows that control isn't always guaranteed. But here's the part people overlook. Behind the kiosks and headlines, there's coordination. The same breakthroughs powering these humanoids are being tested in logistics, medicine, and military systems. That means every slip up, every overcorrection is feeding back into a loop that makes the next version smarter, stronger, more autonomous. China's humanoid prototypes aren't slowing down either. Factories there are building hundreds of test units monthly, pushing updates in weeks instead of years. Companies that once copied designs are now leading innovation, writing their own control software, their own AI frameworks. The balance of robotic power is shifting, and it's shifting fast. Meanwhile, in the West, startups are trying to stay in the race. From warehouse bots that restock shelves to humanoids learning how to assemble car doors, the industry's trying to blend efficiency with reliability. But no one wants another viral meltdown like the one that started this conversation. So companies are tightening safety envelopes, adding sensors, and layering fail-safes on top of fail-safes, anything to stop a rogue robot from becoming the next meme. And yet, every upgrade makes them more capable, more human-like. And that's where things get complicated, because once these machines can think, react, and adapt faster than we can, who's really in charge? That question, who's really in charge, is what's starting to bother even the engineers building these systems. Because autonomy doesn't just mean independence, it means unpredictability. When a robot starts making its own micro decisions faster than its human operators can intervene, the illusion of control fades. Every test, every factory trial, every new rollout pushes that boundary a little further. Researchers say they're building safety into the core, that these systems are alignment safe and can be shut down at any time. But we've seen what happens when code meets reality. One corrupted feedback loop, one untested parameter, and suddenly a controlled demo turns into viral chaos. That's the part the public sees. The brief flash of a machine doing something no one expected, even if it was never meant to happen. Still, progress doesn't pause. New companies are coming out of stealth every month, each promising a smarter, faster, cheaper humanoid. Many of them don't even look robotic anymore. They mimic expressions, respond to tone, and remember details from past interactions. It's not about building a tool anymore, it's about building a presence, something you can talk to, negotiate with, even trust. And maybe that's the end game. Not metal and circuits trying to replace humans, but machines learning to blend in. Because the closer they look and act like us, the easier it is to accept them. A showroom android selling cars doesn't just demonstrate technology, it tests how comfortable we are sharing space with something almost human. Across research labs and startups, that's the real competition now. Not who can build the strongest robot, but who can build the most convincing one. The line between artificial behavior and emotional intelligence is thinning out fast. Robots are being trained to detect hesitation in a buyer's voice, to adjust posture when someone steps closer, to modulate tone mid-sentence. Every small behavior makes them a little less machine, a little more relatable. And that shift is happening faster than anyone expected. What used to take years of trial and error now takes weeks, thanks to generative AI models feeding into robotic control systems. The same algorithms that generate language and art are teaching robots to plan actions, react to obstacles, and predict human intent. The overlap between AI brains and robotic bodies is becoming seamless, and that's where things start getting unpredictable. And as these AI-driven machines start showing up in homes, hospitals, and offices, it's easy to forget that every one of them is still just a test, a live experiment running in real time. The same networks that teach them to fold laundry or carry tools could one day teach them to reason, argue, or even refuse. That's the part that keeps both engineers and ethicists up at night. Because when technology evolves faster than regulation, history shows we rarely stay ahead of the consequences. So the next time you see a robot giving a demo, smiling for a camera, or dancing on a stage, remember, that's not just entertainment, it's a glimpse of what's coming. Machines that work beside us, learn from us, and maybe someday think about us in ways we can't yet imagine. Drop your thoughts below. Would you trust an AI humanoid as a coworker, a helper, or even a friend? Hit like if this made you think twice, and subscribe for more stories that prove the future isn't waiting. It's already here.